Hi, this is Dave Meltzer, and I just enjoyed the Heart Healthy Hustle show with my dear friend, Jonathan. You got to join us. Great episode.
Think big, think even bigger, take some risks. God's got your back. Go for it. Don't hold back. Don't ever have regrets in your life. Go fail. Go grow from those things. Live your life.
Your identity is not defined by your successes or your failures.
If you're not happy where you're at, you won't be happy where you're going. Choose to do the things that will make you the person you want to be, that will make you a better person next week and next year.
You're going to have to leave some things you're actually good at behind so that you can find what you're wired for, what you're born for.
Being a world-class entrepreneur is being in every area of life excellent.
It is the little things that are so easy not to do.
The best thing that you can do is assume the best in people.
I want people around the world to believe they can do something great with their life.
If I build the biggest business, but I destroy my physical body and I lose my health, I don't think that's success. While you're on the journey climbing to success, never forget the things that matter most.
If you like this episode, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Welcome back to another inspiring episode of the Heart Healthy Hustle Show. Today is April 1st, 2019. Yes, it's the 1st of April, but no, this interview is not an April Fool's joke. We actually have with us today David Meltzer. Dave Meltzer is an award-winning humanitarian, an international public speaker, best-selling author, and the CEO of Sports One Marketing. Sports One Marketing is one of the world's leading sports and entertainment marketing agencies, which Dave co-founded with Hall of Fame quarterback Warren Moon. Dave is a Junior Achievement Alumnus and credits JA with helping him impact millions of people. After graduating law school, he decided to take an unconventional career path focusing on the internet and quickly became one of the top entrepreneurs in America. He also served important roles with Leigh Steinberg's sports agency and served as the CEO of Samsung's mobile US division during the first smartphone launch in history. Dave is the executive producer of the #1 business digital show, Entrepreneur Magazine's Elevator Pitch, currently going into its 4th season. He's achieved remarkable success across numerous industries, including tech, business, speaking, marketing, sales, and leadership. Dave, your intro could go on for an hour, but we're going to go ahead and get right into the good stuff. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I don't like to look behind me anyway, so thank you very much.
I wanted to jump right into this interview and congratulate. I see that you're going to be a speaker at the Thrive Conference with Cole and Sonia Hatters. That's exciting.
Yeah, very excited, and just been blessed to speak all around the world, and especially for Junior Achievement, which we just got voted the 7th best charity in the world. So
That's awesome.
Very excited. Yeah.
It's huge. Will you start out the show with a quote or a saying you live by? Share with the audience what you got and what it means to you.
My favorite quote is "Be kind to your future self and do good deeds." And so what it means is that what we do today really impacts the future. We don't know when. And so if we sit in the present state of being kind, and kindness to me trumps everything else. It trumps being right, offended, superior, inferior, separate, anxious, guilty, angry, frustrated. Kindness is the key. It encompasses gratitude, empathy, accountability, and effective communication, all of the above. So be kind to your future self and leaving everything that you see and do and say better than what you found it.
Powerful. I want to delve into the richness and power of relationships. Share with us how it's helped you to go from rags to riches. I've seen multiple interviews with you across different shows. I've interviewed some of the people you're friends with, as well as some of the people who've interviewed you I've connected with. I'm wondering, how do you recommend we facilitate growing new relationships? What action steps would you recommend I take to facilitate connecting with great people along the way?
It's really simple. Just remember, number one, people, they connect on an emotional level for a logical reason. So in order to connect on an emotional level, we need to know the reasons people do things, what they like about it, what they don't like about it, the impact that it has on their life, what they like about it, what they don't like about it, and the capabilities that they have, want, or need, which leads to the most crucial and critical 2 questions that you can ask in relationship building and maintenance, which is number one, what value can I provide to you? That can be in person, on the phone, via email or media. And 2, do you know anyone that can provide value to me? Do you know anyone that can help me? Both of those questions are completely tied to keeping a clean connection to those most relative to you and creating larger spheres of influence through relationship capital.
Do you appreciate when people are upfront with you when you first meet them? Hey, I know you're involved with this charity, Dave. I think I can help expedite that process, or whatever the case may be. Would you be interested in developing this relationship further? Do you appreciate that upfrontness, or do you like the relationship development a lot slower?
I'd rather people be transparent, authentic, organic in what they want. And I think the more challenging thing than me accepting people to be straightforward with me and transparent is to make sure that I am doing them the same service. Understanding what my frequency is, letting them know how can I be of value, and then two, what it is that I'm looking for, and if they know anyone that can help me to stay in that flow.
I appreciate that's some good insight. I'm really interested, Dave. We had connected on Instagram Live a couple weeks ago. I want to know, how can somebody like myself, and I know you being aware of parts of your story from interviews you've done, things you've shared openly, how can we transition from being hyper competitive, seeing everyone as competition, to service and connection oriented?
Yeah, I think they're one and the same, which is hard for people to reconcile. That I am a tenacious, consistent, persistent person, and I do it in the name of how much value I can provide, not how much value I can take. I do it as a motivator, not a manipulator. I do it under the context that the void that I feel unconditionally will be filled with that which already exists that I'm asking for. And once you have that type of reconciliation in your life, you can be more motivated, more inspired than other people in order to provide the value or to manifest what you want.
You mentioned in your interview with Omar that you used to be a manipulator in sales and you transitioned from that. Would you say that is largely accounted for with what you just explained?
Yeah, I think, first of all, I'm still a manipulator. I'm human, right? So I have an ego that has the fear of loss. And whenever we have a fear of loss, we're going to manipulate people for our own self or best interest. I just believe that the shift that has occurred in my life is that I've changed my perspective on how much value that I can bring, starting with the prayer I wake up to every morning. May God put at least 10 people in front of me that I can help, to constantly going back to center, changing my trajectory from manipulation, overselling, back-end selling, even lying at times, to one in which I'm as close to the pursuit of my truth as possible, constantly trying to expand and improve upon the process in which I try to provide value and have confidently believed that everything I want will come to me rapidly and accurately if I keep that trajectory of truth or the pursuit of that truth in my crosshairs.
You talked to us about the success of The Playbook, your podcast. It has over 1,400 reviews. You're interviewing rappers, athletes, film producers. Andrew Jenks, I don't know if you've watched The World of Jenks, but I watched every single episode of that show in college. Changed my life.
Yeah, that's who I'm interviewing, right? CEOs as well, but people that really change lives, right? The playbook to success and how they got there. So it's really, really interesting. So we need to really understand that you can learn from the situational knowledge experience as well as the relationship capital of others.
What do you enjoy most about that project, Dave?
I love the business development side, believe it or not. I get lost while I'm interviewing because these people are so unbelievably, they carry a spirit of excellence. And sometimes it's scary because I'm interviewing them and I forget I'm in an interview because I'm learning so much. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they stop answering it. They stop answering the question. I'm like, oh shoot, I'm interviewing them. I got to think of another question.
You're like, I'm writing it down mentally and physically and I forget that I'm interviewing them. I noticed that with Ryan Serhant, with your interview with him.
Yeah. He threw me when he said, people like to shop with friends. Yeah. They don't like to be sold. I was like, whoa, I had to think about that.
It's 100% true too. That was my top takeaway from that episode. One of my favorite ways to learn is through listening. I do enjoy reading, but listening allows you to multitask. Let's say you're driving to work, you're running errands, cleaning up on a Saturday, whatever you're doing. Audio allows you to multitask, and that's why I've reached out to audible.com to get a promo set up between Heart Healthy Hustle Nation and Audible.
I became an Audible affiliate, so you can get a free Audible audiobook. I use Audible for many of my audiobooks, tremendous selection of books readily available. So if you don't want to spend a monthly subscription to Audible, put in your name and email, then you will get a free audiobook, at which point you can listen to that audiobook, keep it forever, and cancel your subscription before 30 days so that you don't get charged for the monthly subscription. This way you get a free book. Go to triplehaudiobook.com. That's HHHaudiobook.com. I am going to just say this to you, Dave. You're starting to be seen as, at least partially from my perspective, as like a soulful, calm, relaxed philanthropist guy, but you have to be tenacious, as you mentioned before. You have to be an incredibly relentless and tenacious person to achieve so much already. I know you don't like to look back. You're looking forward. That being said, do you believe that was built into you from a young age based on your background?
I think everything's an evolution, not a revolution. So certain things are born into our unconscious competency, our energetic being, as well as our genetics, but also other is as far as the situational knowledge that we have, the environment that we've put into it. And for my sake, I think I was born with the energetic, genetic, and environmental aspects to have me have that consistent, persistent, tenacious attitude to try to, whether it was based off of ego at first or of abundance later on in my life, it has always prevailed to allow me to expand and exceed as much as possible.
One of the reasons I think it's so hard for many proactive people with an entrepreneurial bent or just all-out entrepreneurs to go all in, even if they believe in what they're doing 100%, is because they may feel ashamed to go for it. And what do I mean by that? For me, like I listened to my mom as a child peeling packing tape to make like 25% profit on shipping books to other homeschool moms to make ends meet. And we weren't poor. I'm not going to say we were poor, but that is the most motivating sound to me, is to hear packing tape being pulled open. I still don't think I've shared that with her. It's almost like when I wanted to go all in on entrepreneurship, you watch your parents as a child doing everything they can, sacrifice after sacrifice, to prepare for you and give you the best life that they can possibly do. So when you go in and you decide to make big career decisions that your parents don't agree with, it could be a huge weight, and that can be a subconscious resistance because you feel so appreciative to your parents for all the sacrifice that they made for you to get to where you are. So how can someone dealing with this type of resistance push past it and pursue the business they have been wanting to go all in on?
Yeah, so I think, once again, we have to look at three things: what we want, why we want it, and then, of course, putting faith into this discipline, the strategy, as well as the awareness on manifesting from that probability of why we want it into the perspective of reality. And it's truly the 6 inches between our ears or so that determines what we can achieve and what we can overcome, as well as shifting our energy, as well as activating and deactivating the genetics, creating breakthroughs of the limiting beliefs, as well as thinking and saying and doing all the right things. So when we combine that conscious, subconscious, and unconscious spectrum, when we can start doing, saying, thinking, believing, no matter where we come from or what we've experienced, tomorrow is a brand new day. And we shouldn't stumble on the roadblocks behind us. We should only leverage the miracles or lessons that we've learned in order to effectuate more of what we do want instead of more of what we don't want. There's always a lot there, right?
I've heard you talk about learning from people who have gone before you. So I'm talking with you right now. Prior to this interview, you said, oh yeah, the founder of SAS is a friend of mine. A lot of people listening know I'm in the Research Triangle area of North Carolina right now, relocated here from New Jersey. What has been the most impactful and useful business lesson you've learned from people who have gone before you so that you don't waste time learning the same lesson?
I think it's three things. One, you're not what you do. 2, you're not what you have. And 3, you're not what other people think of you.
What was the second one?
So in that, you're not what you have. So you're not what you do, you're not what you have, and you're not what people think of you. And as an entrepreneur or a business person, we get caught up into all three of those things, and we make bad assumptions, which lead to bad choices. And so if we look at a business in its pragmatic sense, that we're here to provide value, in order for a business to succeed, we need to guarantee that it stays in business. And eventually, if we stay in business long enough and keep an open mind and create value, that business will succeed. The only way, just like our being, right? If your heart stops, you die. if you run out of money, your business dies. So you need to make sure that you stay in business every day and understand that it is a business. Profitability first. Find the purpose in that profitability. Apply your passion to that purpose.
Passion to the purpose. I like
Yes.
that. If you had to start over at 25 years old today, what business and career would you get involved in?
Oh, at 25, I would have got involved like I did in the internet. The difference, I think, is I would have stayed involved instead of, as I kind of transitioned from being the CEO of the first smartphone, the first Windows device ever, I would have stayed in technology. I would have stayed in the Silicon Valley. As much as I enjoy sports, I think going to Leigh Steinberg and learning the lessons of the emotional aspects of the business of sports that I could have applied because I was at the top of my game in my 30s, relationship capital experience in Silicon Valley, and applied all of the money and technology and everything to sports instead of being on this side of sports. And now I'm re-engineering it back to, probably a 10-year hiatus to where I could have been earlier 10 years ago and exponentially gained financially from that.
So I'm hearing internet, tech, Silicon Valley.
Yeah. Well, you got to go where the money is, right? And I think I was blessed to be on Sand Hill Road in my 20s, and I could have leveraged those relationships with Amarillo, Texas Pacific, Sequoia, all of those different places where I see people that had less experience, situational knowledge, and success than I did leverage serious capital into, billions of dollars, which I could have utilized in a variety of different ways.
That is powerful.
That's a good question. No one's ever asked me that one, by the way. That's
Nice.
a good question. They usually ask me, what advice would I give my 25-year-old self?
I've actually asked you that through Instagram Live. So
yeah. You know the answer? What's the answer then?
Man, I explained it to you in the park bench paradigm, which, is the question where you go up, put your arm around your shoulder. So it evoked emotion. It was
radical humility. Ask for help. That's the biggest advice I'd give myself, is have radical humility and ask for help.
I like that. And I also like focusing on your peers versus just people who are way ahead of us. If I am, though, approaching people like yourself with radical humility, how do you do that without appearing kind of gross, needy, and like, oh my gosh, it'd be such an honor? Like, yeah, of course I mean it, and it is encouraging to ask that way. But from your perspective, what is a way to do that sincerely without coming across icky? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So look, a lot of the lessons that we learn, especially online, videos that we see, they're in the mass form. So you have to apply your own personality, your own subtlety, your own diplomacy to the aspect in which you're being taught, right? So if I tell you, the biggest question you can ask is how to be of service, it's not going to go over real well in the real world. How can I be of service? Although I do ask that question quite a bit. It's about displaying that you can provide value to that person and maybe attracting them asking you, hey, you're really good at this. Can you help me? Or, do you know anyone that can help me? But it's all about the subtlety between asking someone and attracting them, but also being diplomatic in how we converse, that it comes across in a very sincere, authentic way. But in the end, you need to convey the issue that I'm here to provide value. I'm here to be of service. And two, do you know anyone that can help me?
That's it too, because you can't just look at it like giving something you want somebody to take so that they feel obligated to help you in return versus actual value. And there are ways to provide value to anybody at any level. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. Everybody has assets in which they can share and provide value to others, even if it's doing a good deed or being kind. It can be as simple as picking up trash or opening a door.
Yeah.
There's something that everybody can do for others, or smiling, for that example. So
that's a big deal.
Everybody can do. Yeah, it's a really big deal. If more people smiled, you'd be amazed how the universe would change.
That's 100% true. I don't know how you feel about Dave Ramsey, but he has a quote: "If you're happy, notify your face."
Thank you. I love that.
It's good, right?
That's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. So in conclusion of this show, Dave, how can my audience connect with you and follow up with you after this?
At David Meltzer on LinkedIn and Twitter. You can also reach out to me at my website, dmeltzer, first initial, last name.com. Feel free to DM me, reach out to me. I answer everything myself. I'm happy to also send anyone my book and pay for shipping if they want my book. Is a great way to start getting aligned with what I'm doing. But please, reach out, follow me. I do have a great show called The Playbook. You can download that on iTunes, Google Play.
Powerful.
YouTube's a great place to reach me. The Playbook's a lot of fun. And also I have a digital show called Elevator Pitch, where you can see how to pitch businesses.
Love that.
We're going into our fourth season.
I love that show, by the way. Keep up the great work. You guys are crushing it. The guests you have on the Playbook as well, for the listeners, it's a very diverse crowd. It's not just ex-athletes or current athletes. It's a very diverse people you're interviewing. It's very impressive.
Thank you so much. We're trying to get those people, like I said, that have the subtleties of success, the spirit of excellence, so that other people can follow their roadmap or playbook to success.
I like the questions you asked Lecrae, too. That was a powerful interview. They all are.
I love that guy.
Yeah, it was
Thank
awesome.
you. Yeah.
For sure.
Thank you so much. I try to ask good questions like you did. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And Dave, being that I'm still pretty new at this, what did you think of the experience?
Oh, I really liked it. You could smile. If we're gonna do video, you could smile more yourself. But besides that, I had a lot of fun. And those are some super questions, by the way. So
appreciate it.
Excellent job.
Put a lot of research.
I really enjoyed it.
Appreciate your time today. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the audience?
Yeah, just one thing. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds. You will benefit greatly. So thank you, everyone. If you need me, just reach out.
Wow. It's about all I could say. What an impactful interview with Dave Meltzer. Before we go, I want to reflect with you on this episode. In particular, I asked Dave about connection and helping what we could do as proactive individuals to connect with others. And he said to ask 2 questions. 1, what value can I provide to you? 2, do you know anyone who can provide value to me? So I'm going to ask these questions to you, the listener. 1, what value can I provide to you? Do you want a podcast coaching program on how to start your own podcast? Do you want a personal branding course? Do you want products that you can buy one time and just own? What value can I provide to you? You can let me know by emailing me directly or DMing me on Instagram. It's at Heart Healthy Hustle. I respond to all DMs unless it's spam. Question 2 I have for you. Do you know anyone who can provide value to me? Do you know anyone who can help me grow this show so we can impact even more people who need this? Whichever platform you're listening to, let me know in the comments or email me, jonathan@thehearthealthyhustle.com. Don't forget the THE, it's thehearthealthyhustle.com. Don't forget to go over to our website, guys. It's hhhpodcast.com. If you want a free audiobook, check out triplehaudiobook.com. That'll be through Audible. I appreciate your support. The first quarter of 2019 is in the books. What are you going to do with the next one? Let's make it count. Asking every day, what else can I do? How can I live wide open? Who can I serve today? I love the throwback to a recent episode we had with John Eads, the CEO of LearnLoft, a leadership. They develop leaders within a workplace culture. And John Eads shared, before he goes into a setting, a room, or any kind of event, he's always asking himself, how can I serve? How can I serve? The point is, always be asking, looking for ways, how can I serve? And be willing to do it. Many people aren't willing to do it. It might be something small, seemingly trivial. However, I guarantee you it's not trivial. If nothing else, you'll get a more instilled confidence in the fact that you took action when nobody saw, apparently nobody cared, but you know in your gut, you did what others were unwilling to do because it was the right thing to do. Again, I appreciate you listening. I hope that you enjoyed this guest along with every other guest we've had up into this episode. We're going on 100 episodes. Can you believe it? I'm so stoked. I'm so excited. I'm genuinely thrilled. I mean, I don't want to break your speakers. I'm not going to scream on here, but I'm excited, guys. We have amazing guests coming up. We have interviews already in the queue, if you will. Founders. We have entrepreneurs of legit companies. You know, no disrespect to small businesses. I still enjoy very much so bringing small business owners to the show. So if there's anyone you know who you think would be a good fit for the show, feel free to DM me on Instagram their information. I appreciate a double opt-in intro, which is essentially where you find out from both parties prior to introducing us that they would both be interested. And I'm always brainstorming that first question, which is what value can I provide to you, the listener? I want to niche down this show. I do have a natural fear of alienating certain people from listening to the show. I don't want anyone to feel like this show isn't for me. But in order to make this show feel like this show is for me, I have to niche it down even more so. I'm not exactly sure what that's going to look like, but in the next few months, I believe by summertime, we're going to have that niche chiseled out, and that small focal point will be incredibly focused on. We're going to go an inch wide and a mile deep versus a mile wide and an inch deep. I don't think what we've done so far with the show has been a mile wide and an inch deep. I think it's been a lot deeper than that and a lot less wide. However, I know that the niche could become even more specific and even more focused. We had John Lee Dumas on last week, and he shared, make sure your show is the best within a given category. And that being said, I want to share with you the landscape of podcasts as of right now. Remembering your niche is so important. I'm seeing so many podcasts forget their niche. They started out as a health and wellness show. Now they're delving into psychological things, which is all fine. I think comprehensive health is important. But my point is, if you're a podcast host, if you're somebody who has a show of your own and you see another podcast and you say, wow, I really love that idea. I loved that interview, or I like that aspect of this show. Don't try to do that on your show. Remember, your show is for a specific niche, because that will facilitate growth. And it's not to say you can never cover those topics, but that niche growth is where you're going to gain initial momentum. If you start going left and right and up and down and saying, oh, I want to incorporate all these little good tidbits from all these other shows that are successful, your show will maybe do okay, but it's not going to be as successful. For this show, we're focused on the proactive young professional who's dealing with maybe a loneliness or that alienation process of that initial pursuit of a worthy goal. They are unashamed of their goal-oriented lifestyle. They strive to surround themselves with winners and people they can learn from who lift them up. They also strive to give generously along their journey, living wide open every single day. Again, that reflects full throttle. That reflects wide open about the faith. That reflects wide open about your efforts, wide open about transparency. It just reflects a complete and utter pedal to the metal lifestyle. Not a reckless lifestyle, but one that recognizes the fact that one day you're going to die. It's a fact. What do you want to do? What do you want to do before you die? Don't let that dream go unaccomplished or unpursued, at least. Don't let that passion or purpose behind the passion go to waste. If you have low energy, be honest with yourself. Self-assess your situation. Say, is there anything I can do? Can I stop watching a show? Can I change my habits so that I go to bed earlier at night and wake up earlier in the day, giving me an hour or two before I go into work, hour or two after work? Instead of drinks, maybe I go home and work on this project, or I travel, I meet other people, I facilitate that connection, asking others, what value can I provide to you? Do you know, in reciprocation, who can provide value to me? Do you know anyone? Doing that over and over is going to change your life, guaranteed. Your career life for sure. I want to encourage you, if you're somebody listening to this episode and you're thinking, man, I judged John on the beginning of this podcast. I never thought I was going to go anywhere. Did I know John was going to go past episode 10? I want to encourage you. I'm just a normal dude. I mean, it goes without saying. I'm not trying to sound like I'm self-important. I'm sharing that just to remind people listening that you can do something way better than what I'm doing. This is just a podcast show. I'm not trying to diminish the impact that it's had thus far, because it's been way more than I ever expected up to this point. And I'm so floored by that and humbled by that, because it's a big responsibility. I encourage you to pursue what it is that you are leaving unpursued. A big thing that can help with this, if you're just starting to tune out, hear me on this. Make a list of the undone things, the incompletes in your life, the small things like as small as, oh, I need to wash those shoes. Oh, I need to make a trip over to the bank. I've just been putting it off. I need to replace that light bulb. Make a list of all these incompletes in your life, the undos, and go do them one Saturday or a Sunday. Just take care of all these things, and you'll find a lot more mind space cleared up, because you're not subconsciously trying to remember all these little annoyances that are keeping you from being fully engaged in your work, fully engaged in your life. I'm not perfect at what I'm sharing on this show. It's really, again, me sharing my journey, trying to make it as accurate, congruent, and as often as possible that I am living the lifestyle that I'm sharing with you. If I share this with you and I'm not striving to do these things in my life, then that's incongruent, and then the show will never impact people the way it could or the way it should, and I would basically be an imposter. I want to share with you again, I'm a normal dude, implementing daily habits. I'm trying to connect with people face to face with the podcast. I'm trying to thank others more. I'm trying to promote others more. I'm not fighting for relevance for the sake of growing my show. I want you to understand that you can do something even better, and I hope you do. I hope this show inspires you to do that, and if there's any way I can add value to you that you think, man, maybe I sat down with John for 5 minutes on Skype or a 10-minute coaching call, feel free to email me. Send me a DM on Instagram. I'll be happy to respond. We'll get something going. We've been doing great Instagram live calls, great Facebook live calls on the Facebook community. If you're not on Instagram and you're wondering why the Facebook group hasn't been having as many live calls on it's because we've been on Instagram Live. It's smoother, easier, and faster with the network connections and everything. I'm doing my best to save and then upload those to Facebook. However, that process is glitchy and does not always work. So if you're wondering, hey, I want to see more live calls with listeners from the community, jump over to Instagram. That's a lot in 12 minutes, but I really wanted to share these things with you guys, give you the updates, let you know I'm open to collaboration. I'm always looking to improve, striving to implement what I'm sharing as often as possible. Get outside today, whether that's for a 15-minute walk after work, before work, during work. Get outside, get some sun, enjoy the weather. The flowers are blooming. It's spring officially, and I want the second quarter of 2019 for you to be incredible. If there's anything that you feel has kind of been ran over because of the busyness of the beginning of this year, go ahead, take a weekend, step back, assess your situation, be honest with yourself, say, I need this time to recalibrate my goals. I need to write this out. I need to make sure everything is focused, dialed in, and calibrated so that the second quarter and onward in 2019, I make massive progress. I appreciate you. The show is nothing without you, the listener. Again, I want to tell you, share the show. I'm going to demand some constructive criticism, some constructive feedback. Go ahead and do that. Your friend, I appreciate that a lot. You as a listener is what keeps this engine going. It's fuel that I use to keep going. You guys have no idea how much it means to me to hear from you, especially unsolicited. As always, live wide open and Godspeed. Congratulations on making it to the end of this episode. What about this episode stood out to you? Next, I need your help sharing this show. I want this podcast to impact and reach 6,000 people per episode by August 31st, 2019. And I want us to reach 15,000 people per month by March 29th, 2020. Have you been enjoying multiple episodes of the Heart Healthy Hustle? I'm thrilled to share with you an exclusive invitation to join our new Facebook community. To get to know other Heart Healthy Hustlers, simply go to thehearthealthyhustle.com/Facebook, where you can expect to see different members of our community being featured weekly in Facebook Live calls. I appreciate all of your love and support, and I will see you in the next episode. As always, be generous on every occasion. There is a story for you, and live wide open.